Influence is in phases. Every time you ascend a new level of influence, you will benefit at the level of wisdom you have. You will lose at the level of wisdom you have not attained. Then you master that level, then you are exposed to another level again. The second level may not be spread, it will be depth. Now you've spread. Both your wisdom and your foolishness is known. But as you go deeper, it's not spread anymore. Now you begin to have power with kings and nobles. You see that now. It may not be viral, but it causes things to happen. Let me give you an instance. You see, what we've discussed since, we're talking about the corridors of power as far as the physical realm is concerned. It is also important we understand that the physical realm is the victim of the activities also in the spiritual realm. So, there are things that makes men pay attention. There are different kind of currencies. Attention is a currency. People don't listen until there is a calling to listen. Influence is a responsibility. You cannot say, you don't have the luxury of saying, I will make sense tomorrow. If you have showed up, make sense now. You may not know what you have lost once you are foolish. But that you have lost is certain.
PLO Lumumba told me, I asked him, how have you managed to be a very good speaker? He told me, I read. He told me 3 rules. Read. So I thought the rules would be different. But then he said, rule number 1, you read. Rule number 2, you read. Then rule number 3, you read. And then PLO told me, you can read 8 books in a month. He told me it's possible. You only need to do 100 pages of a book every day, which means you need 3 hours of concentration. And then he told me, never dress up like a young person. You are young, but you must understand the concept of garments when you enter in corridors of power. So he told me, change how you dress. From today, I want to see you in suits. He taught me how to walk. He told me that your shoulders should always be high, your head should always be high. When you greet someone, there are 5 things that happen just in a greeting. He told me, when you stretch your hand, before the other person stretches their hand, it shows readiness. When you shake like this, it shows comfort. When you maintain eye contact, it shows trust. When your hands are not sweating, it shows composure. And when you greet the person for at least 10 seconds without releasing your hand, it shows confidence.
And let me add one. When you hold the hands up, it's dominance.
Thank you. So he taught me that. And now these concepts began to do something in me. By the time our home was...
when you came to my office today, and you shook hands with the people you met there, that was my first impression. I said, it's different. That's not Nigerian. There's a culture of respect that takes away authenticity in Africa. You didn't come with that. That was the first impression. That was what made me give the attention. That's interesting.
I began listening to you 3 years ago, 2023. I was seated in the car, and the first video that popped up is a video where you had gone for an event, that you had been invited by the king. And you said that a man who doesn't know his greatness is as dangerous as a beast. I think that's scripture in Proverbs.
A man that comes to honor but knoweth not, like a beast.
So when I saw that scripture, that video, I listened to it 40 times. Just on repeat. I listened to it until I was in tears the whole night. And because I repented, because I felt like I was already, the greatness was there, but I was waiting. I was waiting to some degree. Partially I was disrupting, partially I was waiting. So I was playing safe.
You don't wait.
So I now stepped out. And I now began gathering those materials. Maybe for you might preach them as sermons, but for us it doesn't come as sermons. It comes as curriculums and as templates.
So you use my sermons as curriculums?
Yes, I've used dysfunctionality, bitterness 1, bitterness 2, guilt. Lately now the operating in the corridors of power, countercultural.
Yes.
So all senators and ambassadors gave it as an assignment to parliamentarians to watch the whole of it.
In Kenya?
Yes. I converted those sermons. So I watch the sermon. Then when you give a scripture, I write it down, and then I will break the principle in that.
Yes.
And then now we see how can it integrate as a principle in public speaking, even the methodology of communication.
Yes.
So I study 4 people in Nigeria who really contributed a lot in terms of our content for public speaking.
I once saw a public speaking school give my sermons as a lecture note for people to learn how to tell stories.
Yes. So it goes beyond. And now that's kingdom, because some of the sermons, as I give them as assignments, I don't give them to Christians. So they say that man speaks well. So they will not acknowledge the pastor, like the podcast you did with Giz Baba on disruption. That's what I used to create the curriculum for. We have something called public speaking for creatives. So that's why we came up with 6 modules. But what does it mean to change culture? What does disruption look like? What does storytelling look like? What does packaging look like? I can say also maybe what has helped is the aspect of intentionality of learning and being willing to pay the price whatsoever to learn. By whatsoever I mean resources, whatsoever I mean in terms of time. I deferred from school for 2 semesters at a certain point and took myself back to school. And now private sponsorship. Government sponsorship doesn't allow you to defer, so I had to defer entirely from government scholarship to allow me time to read, research, and travel more. Then I go back to school. So there has also been painful sacrifices. I've lost relationships, lost friendships. There are times I found myself alone intentionally, because now there are things when you see, you must be ready to go through the pain to see them coming to birth.
Interesting. I mean, one of the things I enjoy about what you've been saying is that I understand that what makes great people is perspective.
Yes,
You know, someone sees a sermon, what I teach, you see a curriculum, you see what people can sit on and get different aspects out of it. And that's so brilliant. I'm still interested in the fact that most of them see people of faith, they're turned off.
Yes.
Can we get a bit into the reasons?
I remember there's a graphics designer I had. He used to work with a pastor. So he will tell me, I'll do the poster faster. And it's a poster on public speaking. Then he puts fire in the background.
Many Christians trying to run organizations are not succeeding at it because of the way they present it. So people that should be attracted to it can't come because they've added certain names. You want to get deeper into that?
Yes. Do you know that there are posters that look churchy? Like there's a church graphics designer and there's a corporate graphics designer. From the fonts
They are
to
two
the
different.
colors,
They are two
very
different people.
Yes. Even the logo of an organization. And then most church graphics designers stay in church overnight, praying and all that. So they don't have time for exposure to go in like business meetings because you cannot unsee what you see. I remember there's a graphics designer I had. He used to work with a pastor. So he will tell me, I'll do the poster faster. And it's a poster on public speaking. Then he puts fire in the background.
He puts fire in the background.
Puts fire in the background. So I kept on correcting him. He comes back after 20 minutes. So I told him, don't work. For the whole of this week, I'll take you to malls. We'll just go have ice cream. I'll take you to Village Market. Village Market is like one of the top malls. We go for a business meeting. I realized he doesn't know even how to talk to girls because all the time he's in church overnights. Then he's with the pastor in vigils and missions. Then comes back home, sleeps again, wakes up, goes on the laptop, does editing. So I told him, you need to learn chess. You need to learn draft. Your creativity is so clogged down. You need to look at different fabrics of suits. I asked him, tell me 5 brands of watches. He doesn't know any. Tell me 5 brands of cars. Tell me aircraft. So I had to first watch with him documentaries. And even I needed to help him because he did not even know about colognes.
With that kind of mind, you will have to put fire behind your pictures.
Yes. Exposure is key. And we limit exposure.
How is he now?
He's now running a company. He's employed 12 people.
He grew.
But it took a journey of 2 years. Intentionally. And I first had to disconnect him deliberately with the church folks. Church girls.
Are you saying the church girls?
Yes.
Talk about that.
Voice of Africa by Africans.